We're going to bring the redistricting meeting to order. I'm Rich Johnson, the chair. I'm going to do a roll call. To my left.
Matt Bergen.
Pat Richardson.
To my right.
Paul Thompson.
Lance Johnson.
Okay, we have a quorum. Everybody's here. That's good. We're going to have to approve the agenda. I looked at it. It's basically us discussing what we've been discussing. We're going to look at Matt's data and probably other maps that other people have been editing. So do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as stated?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, there's no meetings, there's no minutes tonight. They haven't done them yet. I guess they're busy with county commissioner stuff. So next Wednesday, we'll probably have 2 sets of minutes to go over and approve. So let's, want to go into your stuff right now, Matt?
Yeah, so I owed everybody a tangible map to look at. And so first I just want to say thanks to Eric, real time identified the issue by 9 p.m., had a workaround, and by 09 this morning had me fully up and running so I could get this to you guys, so appreciate it. So I had the ability to, I had the opportunity to fix my map to a previous rev that I had established. Again, my initial objective was to meet the tolerance that was laid out in front of us, tried not to disrupt existing districts as they already sit, was mindful of communities' legal subdivisions, and tried to use natural boundaries as a way to dissect the individual districts. So based off our yesterday's meeting, the very first thing I did was I cleaned up the Chestnut Hills and Chestnut Ridge community that got pulled into 2 with minimum impact to 4. So then I used 235 as a natural boundary, whereas 2 absorbed the Wildwood community, so that was all clean and with District 2. In doing so, we spoke yesterday that Wildwood is dense. It's very populated. So then I had to compensate for that by extending 4 using 235 north or 235 as a natural boundary, and extended 4 up 235 north. And then some small slight adjustments, bringing 3 over from its previous defined lines into 2 a little bit, but that was to meet the objective. And we can see total population, that is as close to 0 as I could get it, well within the defined parameters, not only for total population, but it also meets the parameter objectives for over 18 as well as registered voters.
So is this data all as this morning? Because I looked at it. So did you change anything since then? Or?
I haven't changed anything since about 11 o'clock. So you'll also notice while I was doing this, I wanted to maintain an equal distribution of polling places. So there's a pretty, So there's as equal an allocation of voting places per district as I could obtain whilst meeting the total population even distribution. The other thing I wanted to do was, again, in using natural boundaries and trying to keep it clean, I wanted to be both geographically and optically clean. The only thing I thought ahead is we're going to be presenting this to the community at some point. So I wanted it to be optically clean, but then objectively, we could speak to the objectives of it by the usage of natural boundary, and then of course starting with as even distribution amongst the 4 districts with respect to total population. And yep, that's my draft.
Eric, can you just go on like the District 1 for this one? I just want to compare numbers. That looks good. Go to 2. 3 and 4. So, okay, so they were from this morning. So whatever we did yesterday, they were a wacky number because I was going to chastise them because they were so horrible, but now they're all good.
Well, that was because.
That's probably so.
No, Eric was doing it real time, so
Okay.
the map that he pulled up was not reflective of this
I'm just
at
saying,
all.
they were way off.
Yeah.
They're like up to 27, 28% in some areas. So with these numbers, your population's anywhere from 0.49 to 1.98%, so you hit it. Greater 18, 2.79% to 5.92, and registered voters, 1.65 to 6.02. So you hit the area. That's good. What else? I'm going to go over. So tonight, what I want to hopefully get to is try to start focusing on what we're doing. Matt, I like what you did. And so Matt, myself, and Lance went after the dense areas. And you also were attacking, make it also boundaries, which is good. We're trying to make everything,
Clean.
hopefully we make everybody happy, but we're trying. So I like what you did. Of course, I like what I did, but I haven't be like an overseer, but I like what you did too. And there's pro and con. So the other two, Pat and, now Paul, you want to show anything that you've changed? Because I just heard that you want to put your maps up.
I mean, I can probably speak to, yeah, we might as well bring it up, sure.
Let's
Good.
see what you put up there.
It's just minor differences. I did the same thing with the Chestnut Hills, Chestnut Ridge,
Okay.
to try to rectify that. And I've actually pulled in a little bit of and so then since we added more people to District 2, I pulled more people from District 2 into District 3. Just kind of picked a boundary and pulled that whole section in, just to bring them a little bit more in balance. So I think, compared to Mr. Bergens, it's just I'm on board with everything he's doing, other than just how we're handling the swapping between
Right.
2 and 4, whether we're going to change 2 a lot. Because I realize, once you drag in Wildwood, a lot of people you got to take from somewhere.
Right.
So,
Can you look at so that's total population, looks pretty flat. Can you look at the other data, the registered voters and, okay, that looks okay. About registered voters. Okay, 4. Okay, well, 4 can have growth. That's sort of something that Lance did too. Growth for 4 is less. So tonight, like I was just, now, Pat, do you have any changes on your,
Make any changes? No.
and you did say you like Paul's stuff too.
I did.
Okay. So,
I now really like.
oh, Matt, so that's sort of where I want to go tonight, try to focus, get closer to the target. So I like what Matt did. And Lance, you also did a high population area too, which is good. So with what Matt did, and similar to what I did, we try to even it all out with the numbers, which is good at the time, but, about growth. And sort of what you, Pat, did in District 4, you had a little bit less, and sort of what Lance did in District 4. So,
One of the things on Matt's map is, remember in the very beginning, we looked at the commissioner districts and the numbers, and they don't seem to be ordered the way you would expect, and we said that was probably historic.
right.
But what he's been able to do is make 4 contiguous with 3, 2, and even 1. So for future planning, I think that facilitates the ability to make moves
Okay.
beyond what we did.
So the idea behind trying to get to absolute zero was it allows future growth and fluctuation, and then still maintain the parameter in 2 years if a new neighborhood is stood up and, a couple hundred people move into it, or, maybe up to 5 years,
Right.
and then hopefully make the next board's job a little bit easier.
Well, what also that you and Lance did, you included Chestnut Hills and Chestnut Ridge too, so you both did that too. So what I'd like to do is concentrate on what Lance did and what you did. And hopefully, we're going to figure out, because I just got your data recently, so I want to look at your Wildwood stuff on the impact of all that. So at least a decision tonight, I'd like to at least have your two plans on the docket. Paul, I'm saying his is better than mine, so it's okay. It's okay. But if everyone's agreeable, do I hear a motion to at least concentrate on what Lance did and what Matt did? They both have pro and con, you know? So do I hear a motion to at least concentrate on those two types of maps?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to focus on Lance and my map and try to either pick one or utilize the two to merge into one
Okay.
final draft.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
One nay. Okay, that's why we have a board, so the ayes have it, so motion carries. Our next meeting, this may be a short meeting. Do we want to go, I mean, you're going to be adding some more things, I think you were talking about.
So I came early and I just tried to tweak it and I tried to use that North Sound Gates Road, but that does not benefit, I mean, that takes us in an adverse
Right, I
direction.
mean, like I said, borders are good, but, you know, then you get the other stuff that impacts.
I'm
Of course, if
about
we go
as-
at your map, you have to explain everything to the people, and we just watch you.
That's fine. I'm about as close to balance as I think I can get it.
Okay, so like I said, you both did Chestnut Ridge, and that's one of the things that Eric mentioned when he looked at all the data, that was an issue. So did you, I know Paul was going to look at some other maybe areas that were maybe
No,
a
I
concern.
mean, I think there was a,
Okay.
I guess I could look at it one more time.
All right,
but,
well, that was a big one, because it was like, you know, across the street was one district, and other across the street was a different district, so that's good. That's all I have. It's going to be a short meeting. Software glitch, we still use the other page to bring it up.
Yeah, you just have to pull up that link, use the exact same login credentials, log into that, and then you can
Okay,
open your map, log into that, and your editing should work fine.
okay.
So
That's all I got. We did, uh-oh.
I got something.
Okay, come on forward.
So yesterday, hi everyone, Neil Murphy, Deputy County Attorney. Yesterday, I think Amy would prefer if I spoke more clearly into the mic. So yesterday you asked, I can't remember who exactly it was, whether those residents who were in a district that is changed will be advised of the change.
Right, that was to the Board of Elections.
Board of Elections, but there wasn't anybody here, so I contacted them today. And so I spoke with Wendy Atkins over email, and she said, yes, they will be notified. She said, any district that is changed, a new voter's ID card will be mailed to all affected voters, notifying them of the change. So let's get a new voter ID card.
So minimal impact, they just have to resend
They
it.
just, yeah, that's what it sounds like. So, but they will be notified.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it. That's
you.
good. Well, it's one of the questions we had, so now we have it answered. And again, if you have any more questions, they'll be on our next meeting, the Board of Elections. If anybody has any other questions, suggestions, you're going to edit, are you doing any more editing on your map, or?
I was going to start over and just kind of continue playing around a little bit,
Okay.
but
Okay. So I motion to, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Paul, did you have something?
well, I mean, if he's going to start over, we're going to lose his map.
no. Well, the map is still there.
Oh,
Yeah,
on
this-
this
I
page.
just reset.
Yeah, software wise, he's not like,
Yeah.
Okay.
he's got, you know, IT's fixing the software.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I was just trying to come up with another version that maybe wasn't quite as, because I know that the more changes you make and everything, it just brings more questions and more, like, everybody, it's harder to come to a consensus. So,
Right, and I guess that's leads into what I was going to say also in addition was just, well, my no vote was kind of like, we felt like we're moving away pretty quickly from the minimal changes. We've gone to the two max changes maps just now. Like,
Well,
it seemed pretty quick. I have nothing against either map in that sense. It's just more, they both have a lot of changes. I probably have to want.
they all do, and it's like, the data was delayed, and now we're coming up to, you know, what, in 2 weeks, we have to do a vote for what the final
Okay.
is going to be, so we're going to have to figure this out. And
I want to second what Paul has just said, because I think it might be a good idea for us, before getting too far ahead, to go back through the parameters that we had agreed to in the beginning. One of them is trying to do the least amount of moves possible, and of course, the natural boundaries, and there were others. But I think I would feel more comfortable if we had more information about the specific areas. I can see the major areas on the charts, but just to have a better idea of which specific areas we are looking at moving. I feel like I don't have a good handle on how many people we're moving, who we're moving at this point. So it's just a thought.
okay,
So I'd definitely take that into consideration and try to maintain that. One thing that I thought of, and I had to go back and sort of read the synopsis of the last board and what things were taken into consideration. Then I began to think, just because there are these existing or current commissioner districts, if we have the opportunity to take a few more things into consideration and do a notable adjustment, but have it be something that maybe the next boards and, future boards can kind of stick to, or maybe they take a couple things. So I didn't want it to be set in stone, because, they could have adjusted it from the board before them and the board before them. So I didn't want that to be something that I just completely threw out of the window, and then I kind of circled back to the balance, which was the justification. So agreed, I did deviate a little bit from what we had normally said of trying to maintain the current commissioner districts, but just because those are set, those were set by the board before us, and
boards before
and we've
that.
taken things into consideration that they didn't, and I think the next board will as well. So that's why I kind of loosened that, or reprioritized that on my list, and with number one objective being balance.
And I do appreciate your use of the natural boundaries and that they're nice contiguous blocks. I think visually, yeah, if we weren't trying to minimize changes, this makes a lot of sense. That's the
I
only
get it.
real
But it was
initial
cognizant
hang
of-
up I have. I probably have to look at it some more. It'll probably make more sense to me, but I'm
get
just
it.
sort of just still feeling that out, right, as far as what the impact really
Well,
means.
this just came across about noon today, so
Right.
take some more time to dive into it.
any other discussions to go forward? Lance, Paul?
Yeah, I kind of like what Matt did. I didn't even think about taking 4 up to kind of make it look more contiguous. The thing that bothered me the most was that like 3 and 2 seemed to be very, looking at it appeasingly very contiguous, but then 4 was just kind of thrown it, like you kind of see it was thrown in like a hat on number 1, and so I kind of think that this, even though it changes the map a little bit, like drastically, but it almost kind of makes more sense, because you're just really kind of taking 4 and kind of moving it up, but yet keeping the major neighborhoods that are in 2 that are, you don't want to divide a neighborhood
Right.
and have them, so it does kind of make a lot of sense, so.
And for future growth for the next time, since they're now all touching, it's easier to do the trading in the
Right.
future, which that was sort of what's difficult about our starting point is
Correct.
you have to start shifting everything around. So that's also an appealing aspect of this type
Okay.
of map.
Pat, any other questions? Pat, Matt?
If I could proffer something as well. If you are concerned for any of these iterations of the number of people affected, the number of people switching districts, I can easily provide those numbers to you if you would like for each of these iterations.
Can you give us another chart?
It would just be a small
Add
Excel
another
sheet
chart.
for each one of these, and it would just say the total number of people
Okay.
that would be switching a district.
I would
Under each
appreciate
plan.
that.
I think that'd be helpful as well.
So looks like we all have our input, and now we're going to concentrate on what we got. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn?
Do I hear a second?
A second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting's over.